Good morning, everyone. Wrong screen there. Yes, so it's Tuesday. Welcome to the Eurotrade. I am deep in the throes of coding stuff. So if you're new here, I am Mark Stocker D. Welcome to the Eurotrade, right? Let's see what this week has in store for us. But in the meantime, I am testing this first bot that I made. And we'll see how that all works, if we can get a signal. And yeah, super exciting. Right, so let's do some manual analysis here. So let's have a look. That is the Asia low. So as usual, I'm going to start just by finding what the Asia range did, first and foremost. How is everyone doing? How was everybody's Monday? And remember, everything you see here is for educational purposes only. Even though I am Series 3 qualified, I am not a CTA, nor do I plan to be. So keep that in mind. Right, let's make this yellow. And then this was the overnight high. Reevestone is saying up 1,500 on gold overnight. Wonderful. Love to hear it. What was your entry? You know, let's see how you identified that trade. That is where the real value comes from. And we all get to learn from each other, which is what the prop firms always used to do. And now we have Topstep doing the same thing for us. So it's great. All right, so gold is opening this London session. Even though I'm not really that interested in the London session, more interested in LME and COMEX open. But we are kind of opening above value with a moderate gap to the upside. Could mean a continuation. There is some scope for mean reversion as well. But for now, overnight, yesterday's settlement in COMEX was the one that was a bounce point. And that's pretty interesting. Right, Reevestone says a bunch of scalps just on highs and lows. Awesome. Awesome. A bunch of scalps. So yeah, nice. Got a nice trend up here from Asia. Then we had 3:30 a.m. a little bit of a wobble. Attempted high. And then here is that version of a Frankie fake out that happens super early on gold. Why? Because usually towards the end of the Tokyo session you have this this shakeout and then a take profit move. So even Tokyo does the same thing, and partially the reason why Frankfurt fake out happens in this manner so early for the Tokyo session is because of that Tokyo close. So that causes a bit of a take profit move. But if you have products such as DAX, they do it because the Eurex exchange is too small, and then they try to take it one way, and then London opens and they go, no. And then they run it to the opposite side. So that's something that happens in certain equities. DAX is the most pronounced. I think maybe YM might have that as well. Let's have a look at what YM did. So let's have a look. Frankfurt fake out. So 7 a.m. 5-minute chart. Yeah, so this is Frankfurt open. So as you can see, they tried to go higher. Here is the Frankfurt high. And what does London do? Takes out the high, then reverses. We were talking about this setup on on Trade with Topstep yesterday with Anne-Marie and with Jay. So if you were listening, that is exactly what happened today as well. So maybe I should code a YM bot, because I'm never really truly awake at that time of the day. So even though I used to do this on DAX, I'm just not functional enough. So it is something that could be coded pretty nicely. But yeah. MS says, nice to get here, Coach D, while I mark up the chart. Good morning, good day, good day, good day. Shay is here as well. Saz Tech Trades, sorry, butchered your name there. Monday was great, made 4.6K on GC. Yeah, it was a trending day yesterday. I wasn't really looking at manual trading. Yeah. Nikki6 says, sup D? Great last video release, by the way. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. So if you haven't seen it, I made a video on my own channel where I attempted to kind of simplify the basic use of options levels in intraday futures trading. So not trading options, but you trade around those levels. And the funny thing is, somebody asked in the comments, why didn't you include delta? Well, here's the thing. Gamma environment, when we look at whether we're in positive or negative gamma environment, come on D, do that again. Where we look at whether we're in positive or negative gamma environment, that already includes delta. So, but yeah, it's a nice little intro to how we should use some of these levels that you sometimes see on my charts. Because here's the thing, I use a combination of profile for open sentiment, quantitative extremes for targets and magnets, and maybe even sometimes reversals if they tend to happen at the correct time of the day. But that's not going to be super often. However, when it does happen, it's actually a pretty good setup. And then I use options levels and strength of auction to the levels, and then also the gamma environment to figure out what sort of behavior I should expect in and around those levels. So yeah, and then people get a little bit confused when I try to talk about that, but it's really not that complex. And yeah, so maybe we'll do another webinar with Fabio from MentorQ, because I featured their levels in there, and they're awesome. The reason why I stick with them is first of all, it's a great company. Second of all, they do the options levels for my commodities, which is very rare to see, right? Usually it's just equities. So most of the sort of dark pool levels, they usually focus on, QQQs and the SPYs and stuff. But MentorQ actually has all of my levels. They have copper, they have gold, they have silver, they have crude oil, they have a whole bunch of stuff. And then you can even convert some of those levels into the ones that you need. Yeah, Nikki6 says, yeah, MentorQ is great, honestly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that more people don't know about it, to be honest, because I've used options levels in some shape or form, probably even when I was a swing trader, because when I did Forex, I was using these Forex option expiries that happen at 10 a.m. New York time, which is 3 p.m. over in England. And there was always a huge reaction, even on currencies. So, yeah. All right, so let me run you through what I've been working on. So at the moment, I have two bots. They're not both running today. They're just, one of them looks at the Asia high and low takeout. Now, because gold has been in such a strong uptrend, I don't really want to run. This is where the discretion or with algorithms comes in. So I don't really want to run a short when we break Asia high, because the trend is so strong on larger time frames. So until something changes there, if we look at the weekly chart, we've been in this range forever, and now we've broken out. So for me to run the trade that potentially has both sides inside it, not really the best choice. So I decided I was going to code up something that's more useful for this current development on gold. And so one of the things that I'm playing around with is the EMA slope, and then I'm just using some Fisher transform to sift out, the trend and the direction. So I'm using slope. Sorry, my dogs are kicking off. So I'm using slope of the EMA, and I'm using Fisher transform as my entry conditions. And I'm not actually aiming to execute during this time of the day. But yeah, when the slope starts sloping, it's supposed to identify that as a strong up or a downtrend and then enter a trade. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I tested the order placement. It seems to work, at least for the test. But now I need to see how it's going to perform when I actually run it as a strategy, whether there's any bugs there. So now it all becomes the game of hunting for bugs if anything goes wrong. Prime says, once you start using gamma levels, it isn't complicated at all. Yep, exactly. And also, I haven't gotten intraday information in a long time, though. Intraday information. So here's the thing. On my commodities, I don't really even have the option to have intraday. So if I want to see intraday, I actually have to go and look at the options chain. But on the I think SPX has the intraday levels. And what you want to do there, and for the intraday side of things, I find that it's only really useful when the price goes nuts and then it leaves the end of day levels in the dust. Otherwise, I don't really have the need to do that at all. But if you go to the conversion, so you effectively convert SPX levels into ES, then you will be able to see intraday. And they publish that, I think, about 5 times a day or something. So that's a little workaround for the intraday levels. I'm just looking at what's going on here. Yeah, so for some reason it's I coded it up for GC, but I have this like contract scanning code and don't see anything open, but for some reason it's having some troubles with MGC for whatever reason. So I'm gonna have to have a look at that. Why is it doing that? Why are you doing that? I do have like a string that scans for everything that has GC inside it, so that could be the problem. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That could be a bug. It could be a bug. Good a bug. Bzz, bzz. MS says next options are a baby version of 75 minus. I thought the micro options are already a thing. Are they? Can you share a link to the video? So here's the thing. You see below this video, they kindly put my YouTube. It says check out Deeyana's YouTube. If you go there, it's literally the latest video on there. GC in a trading range, Dan man. Yes, this is the normal thing that we get every single London session. It starts and then it looks like it's going somewhere and then it does nothing until closer to the LME, at which point either the resumption, the continuation of the trend, or some kind of a reversal becomes more apparent. So this is the reason why we are actually going to be moving the Euro trade to a new time slot. And that's going to likely start from next week. Don't quote me on that. I'm still waiting for the team to confirm that, because they obviously need to make an announcement and all that jazz. So once that's going through, we're going to be starting the Euro trade from my 11 a.m. and that's, I believe, 5 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Eastern. So it's going to be a better time slot for the early birds. And whilst we do have, you know, a few European people and maybe even some people in Asia, I think they're in the minority. So yeah, it's overall just a better time slot for the products. Because initially, if you weren't here for the last year or so, we intended the Euro trade to be focused on DAX trading. Now, unfortunately, they had some problems implementing DAX, and while it's on the list, we don't have a timeline on when that's going to arrive. So that's going to be, you know, something that might come at some point, but, you know, I don't really want to sit here watch paint dry. So I was like, can we move it to the London Metal Exchange? And they were like, yeah, that makes sense. So so yeah, we're gonna have a new time slot. It's pretty exciting. Now, one thing that I might want to do here, let me see if I can. When DAX on Topstep, listen, I just said, no idea. It was supposed to be happening. It's still on the roadmap, but it's not really exactly a priority, right, for them, because they are an American company and they just don't feel like too many people would be trading it, which is not really true, because most of the European and London people, we all love DAX, right? It's like for this time of the day, DAX is the product, right? Everything else is a little bit quieter. You know, you can get a few scalps in, and then every so often, once in a blue moon, you get like a really nice move for the London Open on US-based equities. But generally, it is not the best time of the day. However, DAX, that's its main session. That's when it moves. So, you know, that's why you see Tom Hugard trading that in the morning. So yeah, someday, oh, the rainbow. Yeah, someday we're going to get DAX, but don't ask me when. Because I know as much as you do at this point. I know, Skill City said in Australia DAX works a treat to trade. Yeah, because it's, it was one of my pitches that I made to MP. I was like, yeah, you know, Australians, anyone in Australasia for that matter, that's really the only thing they can trade that moves really nicely, because they are asleep for the rest of the time, because it's middle of the night for you guys, right? But yeah, so it will come at some point, just don't ask me when. So ask MP. Which indicators do you use in TopstepX? So here's the thing. I say that a lot. TopstepX for me is just an execution platform. It's not my main, you know, charting platform. I've been doing this for 18 years, and at this point, you know, I have some of my own indicators that I created out of a need for my own trading. It's not, you know, it's not on Topstep, obviously, because we can't really create custom indicators. But the things that I have on here is just like the basic shell so that I can orient myself if I look at the chart, right? But my own indicators, the way they look, and again, I will apologize for the white charts. I love white charts, so sorry. But this is what my actual platform looks like. This is my main charting platform. It has CQG data. It is AMP. and I can very easily have some extra functionalities and stuff, but it is on a platform that most people absolutely despise. So I have this nifty backtest mode that shows me exactly how the day went and what the levels did and all of that without any lag, which is very important if I'm doing like some sort of a backtest trade idea. Obviously I have the TPO profile on there. I have my quantitative extremes on there. I have the some volumes. I have all the average range information as well, which is contained in the bottom of the chart the way I like to set it up. So all of this shows me what the ranges are, just like some basic data and stuff. So it literally mainstreams my process to just a few clicks on the chart. And before I had my indicators, I had to do all of that in Excel. So I was the Excel spreadsheet queen, which, is great. But unlike RMO, I don't really enjoy Excel. I think it was the bane of my existence. So when I was able to, I connected with the software architect and I explained to him what I wanted. Now, back then he was still working for a bulge bracket bank. So he was also looking for ways to kind of get out of the corporate environment. Like the project, we ended up partnering up, and that's how Blotic was created with the sister company that is Marcus Talkers. So those are my two other software development side of things. That's not English, D. So that is my other business that takes care of the software development side. But yeah, and the platform that it's on at the moment is just MetaTrader 5 via AMP exclusively, because they're, I think, the only firm that actually has real futures contracts. But why MetaTrader? Because I've been trading for donkey's years, and back then that was the biggest platform for Forex. I started in Forex, then when I moved to futures, AMP had futures, obviously, so I naturally went through them. And actually, funny story, the reason why our market profile looks the way it does is because of the CEO of AMP, because he was looking to publicize the market profile in futures, and he found us because he looked what was already on the market. He liked what we did, and then he asked us to do some custom development. So something that he asked us to do was the TPO only mode. Now, let me see if I can remember how the hell to do that. But yeah, TPO only mode. Now you do need to, if you use the TPO only mode, you do need to like mess around with it a little bit to get the actual tick data and all of that looking a little bit prettier. But you can actually see that there are some letters there. I just never really just use, because I like to see candles. And we were the first company to overlay the graphical market profile, put some lines on the chart, and then to have this inline graphics. And then a whole bunch of people went and copied us, which I suppose is a nice thing. But I wasn't very happy, because I was like, well, I was the only one who was doing that. It's like I always had other companies that were like, well, here's your market profile, and it will be in a completely different window. And I just got so sick and tired of having to scan like a lunatic. No connection to Coach Jay's VIP team, but I spend the best days of my life almost getting whiplash, because I'm looking at the profile on the other screen, then I'm looking at the charts on this screen, and then I'm looking at the profile, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why doesn't someone just overlay this? And I know that some profile traders are like, oh, we don't like to look at candles, but it is the 30-minute chart, and I'm sorry, but I like to look at actual resulting candles, because I can derive some extra information that I've been staring at for 18 years. So, that's just how I wanted things. And then when we did that, after about sort of a year and a half maybe, suddenly a few other companies popped up, and they're like, graphical overlay. And I was like, that's mine. It's like, you bastard. So yeah. But it's business. It happens, and like it happened with Topstep as well, right? They were the first. Topstep was the first virtual prop firm, And then what do we have now? We have an entire industry. It's not a bad thing for the industry, but it does happen in business a lot, where somebody goes, that's a good idea. Let's see if we can make a business out of that. And then they adopt it, and they create a brand new feature or industry. Now, with the risk settings that Topstep has done, that's disruptive for the industry. So now that a lot of other companies are actually adopting Project X, I expect that the risk tools that, again, Topstep designed and implemented for the first time, I think that's going to become the gold standard going forward. Maybe not for all companies, because, who the hell wants you to control your risk when you can blow up a million evals in a day? But yeah, for some companies, there are a few very good companies around, and yeah, I will always support the programs. I am with Topstep, but I've had my YouTube channel for a long time. Not that I was particularly active on it in the recent years due to some health woes. But generally, I have always supported genuine prop firms that are working in favor of the trader, okay? And whenever that changed, because prop firm decided to go a little bit weird, I stopped supporting them. Or immediately I saw red flags with some of them, so I never supported them. So, I'm very careful who I'm going to recommend to whom. And obviously, Topstep was always high on my list because they were the very first prop firm that I got involved with back in 2015, I think it was. It was a long time ago. And when they, over the years, obviously, we cultivated friendships and I stayed in touch with everybody. I was very sad when we discontinued Squawk Radio, because I was a part of that. Not to this degree, but I was a guest. You see like guests coming on, because I was just a funded trader back then. And so over the years, I maintained my friendship with Hogue, and Eddie, of course. I never really knew MP that much. We were mostly just, on Squawk Radio a few times together. And then really I got to know him a lot better when we started TopstepTV. But, obviously everybody knows who MP is. So, yeah. And here we are. So that's a little story for you today while we're waiting. Actually, I just realized something. So here's the thing. I excluded some code to not look for trades. Like, I can see that it's not going to do anything right now because we don't have a slope on a 5-minute chart that's anywhere steep enough to actually start a trade, but I will need to stop this and change some things. So then maybe if the slope starts sloping, then maybe we can actually see this thing in action. Let me see where that is. Yeah, this is where Dee goes into nerd mode and forgets that she's on the live stream. It's like, oi, Dee, we've got chat to follow. Oh, Doom is here. Doom! How did you were short yesterday, weren't you? How did that work out for you? He says, I love story type. I also like TPO charts. Awesome. Where's the name of the oscillator indicator? That's not actually an oscillator. It's, if I remove my face for a second, it is actually, well, I suppose it is an oscillator, but it's an ATR indicator. So there you go. It is average true range. Now, I use average daily and average session range, but for this purpose, I've just put ATR just to see what's going on an intra-candle version side of things. And right now, it's telling me that on a 5-minute chart, gold actually has a pretty decent range of 32 ticks, 3.2 points, what does that tell us? It tells us that your stop losses should probably be in the region of about 60 to 70 ticks. So that's one way to scale your stops. Another way for me, let me bring my camera back. Another way for me is the average, which is my kind of twist on the ADR, average session range, ASR, and then I divide that by a certain number, depending on what I'm trying to achieve, to get the most optimal stop loss that is neither too big nor too small. But yeah, the oscillator at the bottom is not really an oscillator. It's just measuring the average. I love my averages. I've come to understand that about myself. So I love my averages, and ATR, ADR, ASR, just hit me, give it to me, you know. You say average of anything and I'm like, I'm melt. I'm like, averages. Averages. I just get lost in my own thoughts. So yeah, that's how big of a nerd I am, by the way. That you go all gooey at the mention of a mean average. Yes. Yeah, okay, so did that... Let me see what I was doing. Okay. All right, so let's kick this off again now. Let me grab another version of that. So what I just did, I just excluded, commented out the parts of the code that pertain to the time of day. But I mean, the slope is so flat, I really don't know whether it will even have anything in an hour. We would need some sort of a thing to kick this thing up the old bottom and to start doing things. But yeah, let's rerun this. Now, is it gonna do the test trade again? I thought I stopped that. Well, okay, so it kicked me out. Fair enough, because that was me running the whole thing. So let's go into sim, because we don't want to be testing this on live. Christ, it is not ready yet. Okay, so I am anchoring this to one of the Combine accounts. So what's happening here? Are we running? We're running, apparently. No, it's so annoying. It's actually the contract. I've got something wrong with the contract. Because here's what I was thinking. So I wanted to have some sort of a scaling thing where it uses the account balances to figure out whether you're going to trade MGC or GC. But I think that's messing up the real-time quotes. So that's not a good thing. Again, let me see if I can comment that out. We're going to try this again. Live coding with D. Yeah, never mind Eurotrade. We're trying to get this bloody thing working. Ugh. And I do love this. I do love this. I get frustrated because, you know, sometimes you write a piece of code and you're like, it's not working. Why? But then sometimes you write a piece of code that really shouldn't work, and then it does work, and you go like, what? How did you do that? And then you have to like go and hunt for things. So let me try and see if I can find that. What do I call that? Let's see, what's the proxy? It's GCE. What month are we in? December, right? And gold. Okay. All right, there it is. Find prefer contract ID. Okay. Let's hope this works. Oh, I see why. Okay. Yeah, because it said... So I have this like fallback system where if it doesn't find the actual contract that I specified, maybe we change the month or something, I said to use the first result, and I think that went to MGC. Yay. So yeah. Let's see whether I can change that. All right, we'll get this. We'll get this working for sure. Doomlord says, "Say exponential MA." Exponential MA. Should we have like Dee doing the ASMR just with trader terms? Average range. Exponential moving average. Oh, Doom, you just gave me an idea for a short, because that's going to be funny. I'm going to do that. I love doing the funny ASMR videos that are like, make no sense whatsoever, and they're not really ASMR. I mean, they are, because you're whispering into a microphone, but it's just, you know, it's saying stupid things. I think there should be the trader edition. That's easy to film as well, so I'll do that. Something like ASMR, but make it day trader. Mohammed says, you look amazing as always. Thank you. I have not been sleeping because I've been coding. I've been really undisciplined with my sleep since I went into this whole thing. All right, so green color is not... yeah, never mind. Okay, are we now running this? Did I kick this off again? I can't remember, honestly. So let me rerun it. Because there's no signal yet. This slope really needs to be much bigger. Okay, kicks me out again. That's the only annoying thing. Every time I rerun the code, because they can only have like one session, and I mean it's a combine, but they're still like, oh, you can't run multiple things, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then it kicks me out, then I have to relog back in. Ugh, this actually... Yeah, okay, so I can't be doing this when I'm on the stream. It didn't do it, so I'm gonna have to actually go into the code and think about it, and right now my attention is actually split between chat and looking at this and that and trying to figure out. So if it does anything, unfortunately, it is going to kick it off into MGC, because for some reason, I don't know, I need to look at what I've done there, because I haven't done it properly, so I need to... Because I created like a library. I've been working on that for 2-3 weeks now. And I and I have the yeah, Bruno is being funny. So ASMR, yes. So yeah, I need to like sit down and actually have a look at the library constructor and why it's doing that, because yeah, but if it kicks off, it's just still tests, right? So let's see if it can kick off in a 1 MGC contract if we get the slope. Because right now I did change the exclusion for this time of the day, so we'll see. I'll comment it back in later. So I didn't drastically change the code. I just commented out some things. But yeah, I need to have a look at this trade contract selector that I created, because that's not working. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot more of Nerd D now that we're doing this. And as soon as Topstep came up with the API, I was like, oh yes. Oh yes. because I've kind of been waiting for one of the prop firms to allow that. But here's the kicker: one of the most of the prop firms will not really allow you automated strategies, which is silly. It's like, what's the difference? What, do you want the traders to mess up the discipline? Like, is that the reason why? Like, I understand you can't run HFTs, and you wouldn't be able to with your home-based servers anyways, because they cost an arm and a leg. But, you know, why not allow people to partially automate? So, I don't know. Going to firms that will have Project X, I think it's actually definitely something to consider when you're looking at the validity of the prop firm, and having the ability to run automated strategies, you know. Shay Hughes says, sounds like an M&S ad. Yeah. Prime says, your husband might not like the fan mail if you do. He's kind of immune to that. We've been together for 20 years. We have a very secure relationship, and, you know. I mean, when I was a musician, it was much worse, right? Because you would get various sleazy people in the club going, hey, can I buy a drink? And I'm like, no, but thank you. Yeah, so I've done a funny ASMR video before, actually. It was 2-3 years ago now, but yeah, it's time for another one. And with my shorts on YouTube, I don't like giving like bite-sized pieces from long-form videos, because you never get the full context, right? If I'm trying to teach you how to use mental cue, I can't just crop out the part where I go, and then gex 2 and 3 will act as stabilizers, because that's not true in a negative gamma environment. It's like, then you get a partial information that is not true, and then you get a whole bunch of people going, well, these said that gex 2 and 3 are always stabilizers because store is short. And I said, I didn't say always. It was a part of the video. That's the problem that I have with short form. That in trading, you really need context behind what the author is trying to say, right? But, you know, my shorts are usually quite funny. You know, I always try to bring comedy into them. So the last short that I was doing, I was making fun of prop firms who are changing rules like all the time, and then ask you to go through millions of hoops to prove that it is you trading. And then I say something like, and if you indeed have a profitable and working strategy, we will send Borg to assimilate you. Because you need to be assimilated. You must be a robot. Right, so this curve, is it sloping? I don't know, it might be. I'm just going to check something else. Doomlord says comedy is life. I love comedy. My dad was a musician comedian, so I grew up with that. And that's, like when I was growing up, we were meant to give like really funny comebacks. And we weren't allowed to use his jokes. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to be very mean to you. And then, well, not very mean, but, you know, he would say something that should be partially hurtful, and you're supposed to, like, do a comeback. So that's the kind of environment that I grew up in. And that's why I think I deal with trolls pretty well, because trolls are not very inventive. They just go on and go, "Dee's a moron." And I was like, oh, well done. Well done. I mean, what am I going to do now that the totally anonymous person on the internet that I will never see in my life told me that I'm a moron? Yeah, well done, mate. Just so proud. And then, you know, they keep trying, and they just never succeed. Because, I'm not bothered by it. I find it very funny when people are like, you lost the trade. And it's like, yeah, but it's a controlled loss. How many times can you say that you've done that? Lose a trade and not get bothered? That's a superpower. MS says, if people don't watch Jedi D videos, that's on them, jumping dogs, courses and stuff. Yeah, so my dogs sometimes feature in my video if I feel well enough to actually go out with the camera, or even that selfie stick thing. But then, you know, these days I'm just settling into a new house, you know, and I need to film the house tour. I really should do that. But, you know, I'm going to have to rope my husband in to be my videographer for the day. Although maybe I should do a vlog style. I don't know, just use my Z Fold, because I do have a humongous phone. The front camera actually on this thing is actually pretty good. And you can use it in sort of selfie mode so you can see yourself. The only problem is that I might be looking at the screen, which is like up here, so or, you know, sideways. So instead of looking at the actual camera, I'm kind of looking as if I'm like boss-eyed or something. Nothing wrong with being boss-eyed, of course. But yeah. But yeah, it just looks weird when you're making videos and you're off-center. And it always makes it look as if you are, I don't know, not genuine. Every time I see people who are like, you know, and I'm like, what are you looking at over there? And I know I sometimes do it as well, but right now I don't have my big teleprompter, which I usually have one here. Not for these things, but for actual videos that need to be jammed into a 7 to 10 minute format. So you can't waffle on like you do in a 90-minute live stream. Waffle on, yeah, nice way to put it. Yeah. Mohammed says, you have to give us a song on your channel for old times. Yeah, I mean, all of my songs that I've done in the last 15 years, yeah, 15 years, they're owned by me. So technically, so I'm the publisher. So I don't, even though it might get flagged up, but I'm not going to flag it for copyright. It's just going to be like, oh yeah, you're using somebody else's song, but it's going to be mine. So I might drag one out. I have a song which is a rock song, and I made the guitars, I did the drum programming. A friend of mine did the bass, because I'm not, like, I can play the bass, but I don't play it well. He did the bass guitar, and it's a little rock tune called Dirty Habit. So I do like the rock wah guitar, and I basically talk about. I suppose we could do it as if like NASDAQ is there. I'm not going to be re-singing it because I haven't sung in like years, but we can do it by maybe maybe I can put it as the intro for this, because I'm still not having the I don't have the intro for this. I have the stream starting, but there's no intro, so I might float that idea actually to the team, because I'm not going to be making the intro. But if I give them the song and just say, clip this part, maybe maybe they can do something with it. So yeah. Alexander Crane says JPY is getting in overbought mode. I really don't look at currencies anymore. Like last time I traded anything currency related, I think it was like 2017. No, maybe I did like a couple of trades in GBP New Zealand dollar or something. But yeah, I'm just over the trade currencies. Just noticed something else on this stream, so why does that's calling it a trade? Well, it's not really a trade, is it? So let me see if I can somehow obviously I have some things that are a little bit sensitive here, so we cannot show the API keys and stuff, so we're not going to be doing that. But so a couple of things that I'm seeing here. Couple of things is that it's kind of calling the quotes trades, so I need to have a look at why that's happening. So I'm just like nitpicking at things. But yeah. Yeah, so loads of things to work on still. This is just day one of testing a Z-bot. Okay, so some of the conditions that I'm looking for in this, it's not just the slope, right? So we need to make sure that we're entering on a pullback. So two things. Slope is one thing. So slope, decent slope on the 5 minute, 16 EMA is what this is. Test of the EMA. So we have to go back and test the EMA. And also I have fish transform number that I need it to be at in order to run the trade. So once those three are put together, then we'll have our trade. So far, we just have a slight slope, upward curve, so that's not really a trend yet. And really, if I look at this from the Asia high, Asia low point of view, we really need to go above Asia high and hold above it, and then maybe a pullback. So we might get a long trade at some point. But I didn't want to run my Asia high-low false breakout because I don't think we're going to break out false. I think we're going to break out for real. And yeah, so you have to put context. If you're thinking about going into any sort of algorithmic trading, here's some pointers. Do not try and code multiple bots in like the same strategy. Number one. So usually bots are very different from manual trading. Whilst us as humans can take in a lot of information, that doesn't necessarily give us any sort of a problem when we're switching strategies. It's like, oh, well, now I'm going to switch into a trend. Oh, actually, I don't want to do a trend because I think that was a fake breakout, so I'm going to reverse it. If you try to do that in code, all you're going to do is just confuse the hell out of the machine, and then it's not going to enter any trades. And you're going to be like, but why? It's good, you know, strategy logic. It's because it's clashing between two directions. And I would actually argue that your brain also clashes if you try to do that around the same line. Longer, short, longer, short. How do people get themselves into a hole? By trading longs and shorts around the same area. Like you have one zone and then, well, I would be long here. Oh no, that didn't work. Well, let me go short now. Oh, that didn't work either. Oh, maybe it's a range, but now I'm in a really shitty position, so now I'm stuck, and now I'm getting frustrated, and now my fight or flight response is just kicking up, and now I'm going to get really angry at the market, even though the market doesn't know I exist. You see this, the cycle? And the algorithm is the same way, right? It doesn't get frustrated, but it certainly gets confused if you have too many things going on around the same zone. So coding your algos by one idea, one zone, contextually, right? So you can't go long and short in the same zone. If you're going to go short, it needs to be somewhere else, or higher up or lower down, depends on the type of a trade you're looking for. And next, if you are trying to vibe code it and you've never coded before in your life, that's not going to work. If you don't understand because I use AI tools to help me automate everything, but I do understand the infrastructure. I do understand what the constructors are trying to do. I can hunt for things. I can try and get raw API responses and stuff like that. If something goes wrong, and I'm saying this because I had a look in the Topstep API Discord, and I was just flabbergasted, dumbfounded at the amount of basic things that people don't understand. Like, for example, most of the questions were about the token. Robert, where do I get a token? And those of us who understand what that means, it's like screaming at you, I don't know what I'm doing, right? And then other people who are like, this is not working, I've used the API documentation, and they're using the demo, even though API documentation says it. This is the demo example. The actual HTTP URLs are on this page, which is what you should be using. And they're like, that's not working. And, you know, so those sorts of questions. And I'm just getting worried that people think that AI can do everything for you. It's a great tool for certain things. Like, for example, once you have the shell of what you want to do, you can very quickly then replicate that to create new files, and you don't have to code it yourself. But the core work of what you're trying to achieve, you have to understand it. So go and at least do a basic Udemy course on something coding related, if that's your dream, if that's what you want to do. So don't be the Chad who's never traded before and thinks that now they can use ChatGPT and get something working. This is very complex, right? You can't just create you can, but that would be just one strategy. If you want to create something robust and you want to make money out of it, and you have no skills to do that, it's literally like saying, I want to be a surgeon, but you've never been to medical school and you haven't done any residency, let alone any surgery. And then your friend says, oh, my stomach hurts. And they're like, oh, let me slice you up. See what's wrong with you. It's like, because I have ChatGPT. See how ridiculous that sounds when we put some other skills on the table? Well, that's what people are trying to do both with their manual trading and with algorithmic trading. They've never coded before. They have no idea what they're doing, but they expect that somehow now, tomorrow, they're going to make money out of this. It's like, adjust your expectations. Expect that it's going to take time, and expect that there's going to be a lot of challenges along the way. And therefore, you prepare yourself not to fail, but you prepare yourself that this is going to be a journey and not a path to quick riches. Does that make sense? So yeah, just wanted to put that out there because like I said, I went into Topstep API and I was like wallpapered with a whole bunch of noob questions. And Robert, where's the token? Like poor coach Robert. I mean, he really tries very hard to explain everything to everybody, but we've got to start from a basic skill level, Like imagine somebody coming, I don't take on total newbies for coaching, right? So if somebody has just started trading literally last week, and I go, okay, well, we have some structure here, we have, let's just say a 2-candle bar reversal, and they're like, what's a candle? That's the level of the questions in the TopstepX API, okay? So that's why I was a bit shocked. I was like, what are we trying to teach here? Interesting. And yeah, so if you want something badly in life, make sure that you have the skill set to do it. And if you don't, try to obtain them. Try to grow your skill level. Trading is all about continuous learning and development. It never stops. It never stops. It's not like today you're like, you know nothing, and then tomorrow you see 5 YouTube videos and you're like, right, now I'm going to go pass the Topstep eval and I'm going to get some payouts in week 2. It's like, okay. And then, even if they get lucky with the first payout, then they find that they can't replicate that because there was something in the markets that got them the initial success. And to me, that's quite possibly the worst thing that can happen to a trader. Just get lucky on a few days. And then they think that God's gift to trading and that it's not difficult, because it, again, sets you up for, this is easy. And then you realize it's not easy. And it happened to me. I put in, I don't know what it was, $300 initially back in 2007. Then I put it into something like Intel or something. And it went up to 4K because there was some sort of a release that I knew nothing about. And I thought, well, yeah, this trading thing is not difficult. Of course, the next week I lost it all and then some. So I lost the 4K and the 300. So I was like, I have no idea what happened. And of course, I put the entire pot on the line because it's like, what is a stop loss again? I didn't know anything. I was a complete noob, very green. So I started exactly like you guys did. But yeah, you dedicate yourself. You keep learning, keep journaling, keep finding things about yourself. Today I'm doing a VIP coaching psychology talk. I sounded weird there. I tend to take on accents from people that I either listen to or are right next to me. So I think me listening to a lot of Chicagoans is starting to affect me, which is not bad. It's not a bad thing. I would still like to partially sound English if I can. Jamari says, how'd you read that bar? The thing the thing, the thing with the yellow and blue color. This is the volume profile. It's just to the right side. It's a whole methodology, but the basic way of reading volume profile probably shouldn't be on a 5-minute chart. I like to read it from 4 hours daily and all of that. Why? Because it gives you an idea of where the volume is built and where the widest point of the profile is, which is this red line. So here's a 4-hour chart. We can see that the distribution or redistribution, actually this is probably, yeah, it was reaccumulation possibly. Basically we went up, then we consolidated, then we continued up. Where do we consolidate? Volume POC. This is the highest concentration of volume. Now, 4-hour chart a little bit sketchy because sometimes it involves the overnight trading, which is not the best. So really, you need to make sure that you are on the relevant time frame. So let's have a look at the daily chart, see what that tells us. All right, so the daily chart, you will see it all the way. The POC is all the way down, where we effectively spend weeks consolidating, so naturally we built a lot of volume. What does that create? It creates a demand area. So now we're breaking out, and now we have the low volume node. What's a low volume node? It is an area where the price moves relatively quickly and then it leaves a gap, a hole. We can sometimes call it single prints, but you can see it on the profile. Why? Because this is thicker, this is thinner. Yeah, very simple concept. What do we expect from this? We expect that if we ever get to a gap in the volume profile, that we're probably going to get a reversal first and foremost. So one gap that I can see here, that is a sort of a gap within a gap, right? So thin volume node, low volume node, but also a gap. So I would say that this would be a pretty decent area to look for continuation on a larger time frame. So that will be a part of your weekly plan. It's like, okay, where do we have a gap that might get filled but probably won't, right? Especially not in the first try. Usually gaps on the first try do not get filled. They will be of these kind, I mean the LVNs, low volume node. So it effectively touches it, then reverses. But the second and third time, that rings true in the volume profile too, you will manage to see the price going through it, and if it starts to accept the gap, it quite literally just falls through it. It's like it's an area where we expect price action to move quicker. Which direction is a matter of context, but that's how this is like the basic usage of the volume profile. I like the TPO profile personally, but I do use volume profile as well. Matthew says, anyone can help me, just got funded. Well done. Now my TopstepX, when I change the asset from the order section, the chart does not change from the order section. Oh, because you haven't linked it. I don't use linkage, but you need to link your order. Let's see if we can try that. IT support D, reporting for duty. So you see this this sign, whatever it is, no through sign. No, what is it? How do you say it? It's a stop sign, right? Or do not enter sign. Well, that's a link, right? It's a link. Now, if I go to MGC, you will see that that's not linked either. But if let me just try to remember how to do this. If I assign a color to it, let's say red, and then somewhere I can also assign a color. Now, back in when TopstepX first started, and I was the first sort of bug tester for TopstepX, because I don't know whether you know this, I was the first live account on TopstepX. Do you guys know that? the first live, all the bugs went through my account, so I know how it feels. But yeah, that was quite funny. I was happy to do it. Because I was like, yay, let's be the first live account on TopstepX. What am I looking for? Yes, so let's see if I can connect that to gold. And usually it anchors itself to ES for some strange reason. But let me just see if I change that. Let's go MGC. So now you need to connect it. Now they've changed this since I've worked with them, but let's see if I can find a link. And if somebody does use links, let me just see if I can connect these, the DOM and the order. So now if I change that, it changes to CL. But let's change it back. So now those two are connected, right? Why? Because you connected them with the color. Now, I can't remember whether you can also connect the chart with it, because you used to be able to. But where is that? Where is that? Because back in the olden days, you used to click on here, and then if you typed in like red, that would actually bring up the link. But they've changed that. So, and I don't really use linked things, but yeah. Bruno, if you know how to link the chart to the red color circle, give us a shout. But yeah, there used to be a way. Now I think they've changed that. And what happens if I go MGC? And then what happens if I change this? Nothing. Okay. Nothing. Okay, let's see. Where could that be? Is it here? It's somewhere. Here we go. Bruno to the rescue. Let's have a look. TopstepX allows you to link components to a color. This provides the ability, we're learning together, right? This provides the ability for you to have multiple components all pointing to a common symbol. To link a component to a color, simply click the icon. Yes, we've done that. Once your components are linked, any change to the symbol in a linked component will update all pointers setting to the same color. To set your chart to point to a color, simply click the desired chart to make it active. Click the Add Chart Link button. Okay. This will add a link indicator to that chart. Add chart link. Add chart link. Add chart link. Okay, let's... Oh, here it is. Stare me right in the face. Okay, so let's add chart link. Yeah, I don't want to study that. I just want to... Ready? Okay, okay. So, is it going to let me do it? Let's watch the video. This is probably Robert explaining again. So, okay. So when I click that, it literally just goes into that video, doesn't it? Or maybe there's an indicator. Hold on, am I being stupid here? Probably. Muppet moment. I need to get like a Kermit hat or something for these moments. Okay, am I missing something here? Am I seeing something? So let's see. So add chart link. And when I click on that, it just gives me the video. Is this supposed to happen? I don't know. Let's watch that again from the start. Add chart link. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I expected to happen. but it didn't happen. I don't know, man. Reach out to support because I'm finding it strange as well. Because, you know, like presumably if you, like, yeah. So I'm just literally clicking on that. And it's supposed to add an indicator and it just gives me the video. So is that a bug? So yeah, you're supposed to click add chart link and then it's supposed to add this same button bubble on here, and then you can just link it. But I don't know why this is not working. See, sometimes my combines are a bit weird because I think they have some sort of a common server that sort of reads stuff from your live account subscriptions. So for example, if I try to, even though this is a combine, if I sometimes try to do ES, it doesn't even pop up, even though it's a combine. So yeah, a few weird things there, but yeah, because yeah. So add chart link should be adding an indicator and then putting a bubble on. I don't know why it doesn't. Now I'm going to remove this because I do not like any of my components linked. Nor do I use the order. I just use the DOM and I use a chart. All right, let's see what gold is doing. What is gold doing? Nothing, as usual, for this time of the day. So yeah, the curve is sloping, and I defined it to be 45-degree angle, so I don't know. I do not know whether that's going to kick off. It might kick off later, I don't know. And yeah, my by the way, someone just noticed that my camera is slightly tilted. You're right, I accidentally kicked it when I was doing something earlier. So it's a little bit skewed. I need to deal with that later. Right, where were we? Where were we? There. Okay. Yeah, so Bruno, oh, it is color link. Okay, so, yeah, okay. Here it is. Here it is. Again, Bruno to the rescue. Again. So you want to add the color link. Is that on now? I don't know. Link, 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 link. Link. Yeah, I added three of them. So it does add it. So it is in the indicator. And then you can connect it to a color. Let's try that. So red. I see red. Red. And now, if I also connect it to, let's say, YM, and I assign maybe a yellow. We're all learning together, guys. All learning together. So color without a U. And then let's make it yellow. Hey, why did I do that? That's interesting. Okay, this is still a little bit unintuitive to me, if I'm going to be honest. So yeah, that's how you can connect it. But you see, why now if I change this to yellow, it changes to MGC. And then red is now YM. So now that's connected somehow. And now if I maybe change this to MGC, maybe that's going to change the chart too. Yeah, so they're connected now. Hey! We did it! We did it, guys. We did it. Hey. Yeah, so, you know, have a sniff of the indicator. It's called color, C-O-L-O-R, no U. Color link, so that needs to be on the actual chart for you to link up the chart with the rest of your components. So hopefully that helps. Still no trade. Yeah, and again, I'm going to not link my charts because I don't want that. But yeah, so waiting. Just waiting for gold. Do something. Calm Night says, hey, will you marry me so I can learn trading from you all day? That would be a bit difficult because I've been married for, well, 10 years, but I've been with the same man for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20 years together and our 10 years marriage anniversary. And we actually had Paul H. Coming over to our party, so I was able to meet him for the first time in real life, IRL. So yeah. Oh, A says if you have a link indicator, you can't open two different charts together. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll be honest, I really don't use the linked components thing. So yeah, thank you, Doom. Thanks. Yeah, Topstep. Yeah, the people were like, "Yeah, D, you already have it linked. D, you already have it linked." And I'm like, "Where is it?" Well, that was funny. So yeah. But hey, at least I learned what they changed. Because when I was doing the testing, they didn't have the link indicator. It was literally just inside the search, right? So you would just go. You could have typed in like the color, and then it would bring up whatever the color was linked to, and then you could bring up a chart. So yeah, the chart indicator link actually does make more sense to me. So you're like, okay, so that will be red, that will be that, and you have to have an indicator. It makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Oh, yes, of course. So whoever said, so Bruno just told me, again, we're learning. Bruno just said you can actually do multiple charts. So it's not true that you can only do one chart. You can do it with multiple charts. And he said you just did it with YM and MGC, which I did. I just don't know exactly how it works, so I don't wanna look like a Muppet anymore. I think we're done with that part of the live stream. Again, that's way too much chart stuff to be doing at this time of the day. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to moving this Euro trade, because you know, what did gold do for the majority of the stream? Nothing. It's like, what is that? Usually like trends for about 100 ticks, 150 ticks, but no, we get to this part of the day. And it's like, I'm just going to chill out for a little while because D is on, so we don't possibly want to do anything whilst D is on. It might upset her. It's like, just give it a bloody trade. Nah. MS says it doesn't auto-link once you click on the order entry. I got mine set for brackets. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah. Okay, yeah. So anyways, yeah. News traders saying, are you in profit now? I'm not in anything. So this was a test trade that I was doing in my algo. So I'm just trying to get the algorithm initialized and doing what it needs to be doing. And I just got the orders working yesterday. So this is like the first day where I'm attempting to run the bot all day. And I have one that is like a trend following thing on gold. I have another one that I'm not going to run today because I don't think the conditions are right. If we get down to the Asia low, I will switch this bot off, which is a trend following. And I will switch on the other one, which looks at fake breakouts of the Asia low and high. But yeah, for now, I've just done a test trade to test the order placement. And now we wait. This is the thing with bots. You can't just F in and click. I nearly swore there. You can't just F in click buttons all day. Because the conditions are not there. Guess what? Bot has some conditions, and your brain should also do the same. If you don't have conditions, you shouldn't be in a trade. You know, I had one of the VIPs just complaining how, you know, they're like, oh, you know, I have FOMO, I have a plan, and then, you know, I end up doing more trades on the way up or down to my level. And it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I'm like, well, you actually said it yourself. By trying to trade towards your level of interest, you're taking subpar setups because whatever happens in the run up or down to your level, that's not the high probability trade. That's random walk in most cases. But when you're creating strategies, you have a level or a zone of interest, presumably for a reason, but there's no guarantees that the price will get there or how it would get there. So by you taking crappy trades, that derails your stats. It makes you think you're FOMOing because effectively you can't keep your hands in your pants before the level arrives. I don't know how else to put it, so that it goes into your heads. And then, we sit on these live streams and people are like, D, are you in profit? D, have you done a trade? D, are you in a trade? D, have you done any trading today? It's like, hold your horses, little grasshopper, Patience. Patience, grasshopper. So yeah, let's breathe. Right now I don't have any strategies around the middle of the range that doesn't really quite have enough of a pullback and that doesn't look at the false breakout with the direction of the trend. So that would be here. Now, what's going on here? Something is developing slowly. So for the trending move, let me see what my other chart says. So for the trending move, we need the slope to be at least at a 45-degree angle. That's this middle orange line. That might be correct, but I also have the Fisher transform that went a little bit too far out. So I need to wait until that smooths out, because Fisher transform basically tells you how to time your trade better. So you're not doing like breakout trading. You want to do a pullback trade to something if it's a trending bot, and then you want to make sure that you have enough space for that trade to work out, because it's a trending move. So yes, we expect a trend, but if you just do a breakout and that breakout fails and then continues later on, that's a terrible trade idea, right? And that also doesn't work on most occasions. So right now what I'm looking for, I am keeping an eye on the volume and how the volume is doing. And the volume is actually diminishing for now. So we are at the moment reacting from the Asia supply, but not exactly going above that Asia range. If we go above the Asia range, then the conditions for the trending move may develop further, and then we may have another area for a pullback where the trending move and everything that I want to see at that point will align. Okay? So, enough with the questions, okay? Are you going to trade? Are you going to trade? Are you doing this? So, I'm trying to get this bot working, and it's taking all of my mental capital at the moment. So yes, I still do star setups that I see throughout the week, but at the moment on my live, I'm doing like 2 to 3 trades per week, if that. So it's still alive, it's still there, I'm just being super patient and taking it slow. Who's barking? One of my 8 dogs. Every time we get somebody at the front door, or even somebody walking outside on the gravel, they're like, ah, DEFCON 1! It's like, ugh. Okay, that was loud. But yeah, they bark a lot. They're half Pomeranian, half King Charles Cavalier, even though 2 of them look more like small Labradors, because they came out massive for some reason. And they are a litter that we had and kept everybody. So we had 6 puppies, and we had the parents. Oh, actually, Lenny, the dad, he's going to be turning 13 years old on Thursday. So that's going to be a very special day. He doesn't really like being picked up or held because obviously he's old. And the guy who's licking himself on the little chair in the background, I don't know whether you can see it, he's a black dog. That's Bernard, and he's one of our biggest. He's a black and tan dog, so it's very difficult to see in the background. But if you see something moving, that's him. He's always there. How to open another chart on Topstep? That is a great question. Oh my God, guys, we're just going through. We might as well call this live stream D fumbles through TopstepX functionalities. But I do know this one. Yay. Okay, so you see this this little select layout button. So it has a rectangle. So click on that. And then it's going to give you options. Do you want 2 charts side by side, above, below, 3 charts? How do you want it? So that's the chosen layout. So usually what I like to do is I like to put 2 of them side by side. Sometimes I do 4, but most of the time you will see me 2 when I'm on the stream to try and keep it to like 2 things rather than, you know, I do look at like 5, 6 different products. I don't trade every one of them, but I do look at them. So let's say we can have a natural gas here, and then we can also have copper, let's say. So you can have 2 charts side by side, and each of them can have their own indicators and their own layout with whatever you want to do. So if I can, you know, expand this part, you can bring it in. If you want to focus just on one, in the lower right corner, it says toggle maximize chart, and that puts the selected chart into front view. Then you can go back, and then you can do the same thing with this one. So this is pretty nifty and very intuitive, so I do like this a lot. And yeah, that's the chart layout. All right, guys, we have 1 minute left. I'm going to keep testing this gold bot today, and I'm going to go deal with the bugs first. So yeah, I'm going to be here obviously tomorrow and Thursday for the Euro trade. But from next week, hopefully, we're going to be having a new time slot. So keep your eyes peeled for the announcement. I don't know how far they got to that, but we did say roughly, you know, next week, 15th, should be the start, the new start for the Euro trade. I'm gonna start. Moon Trader says gold is overbought. Yeah, no shit. That doesn't mean that the long side of things. Look, in my bot, I have both longs and shorts, right? So it depends on the slope of the curve, first of all. It also depends on which side we're going. But to keep saying things like gold is overbought and then gold just keeps going for another like 2,000 points up, because let's face it, gold was overbought like years ago. So how do you explain all of this then? Was it overbought here as well at sub 3,000? Was it overbought? Okay, we're going to the other contract now. Was it overbought here? Was it, let's go pre-COVID if it lets me. I don't know whether we have enough, probably don't have enough data on the daily. Was it overbought in all of the other areas? Whoops, I've just put the chart somewhere weird. What the hell did I just do that? How did I do this? Ah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I don't know what I did there. Somehow I managed to smush a chart into one of the indicator windows. Didn't know you could do that. But yeah, was it bought at all of the previous all-time highs? Last time gold was making all-time highs. Of course it was! But that doesn't mean that longs is still not the right choice. This is where, you know, buy the dip remains buy the dip until something changes on the daily. Okay? So this whole mindset of well, it's overbought. So what? If you can find a good intraday, I don't plan to keep gold at 3,693 until from now until 12th of never, right? I'm planning to keep it today. So if everything is pointing, the gold is still moving upside, why would you go against that? Like, I don't really understand that they're always overbought. So what? The .com was overbought for many years and it kept going up. Yes, we had the .com bubble. But now NVIDIA, we have the AI bubble now. So is that overbought too? Yes. Why does it keep making all-time highs? Because everything still looks okay. Is it going to be little pullbacks? Are we going through one now? Yes. Is buy the dip still the right call? I don't know. I'm going to wait until calls start to get a little bit more expensive than puts. That's my take on it. So yeah, don't get seduced by, oh, it's oversold or overbought. There's no such thing, okay? Trade what you see, not what you think should happen, okay? Have an assumption, by all means, but just don't ignore what the chart is actually telling you. So for me, the longs will still be the right call if we go into the upward facing slope in a trending move, if we break the Asia high at 36.99, and if we hold above it. I'm not going to be trying to short it today, right? I want to be buying on a pullback of some sort today with the trend, because gold, that's what it's been doing, okay? For me to do anything else, maybe apart from a short scalp at the right time of day, maybe around the euro close, or maybe into settlement, last half hour, that's the right call, but that would be a short scalp. It won't be like, oh yeah, it's overbought, therefore it must smash down. Now, gold can smash down pretty hard when it's reversing. However, be very careful of putting your own beliefs on what something should happen and then trying to trade that. And completely foregoing what's going on in front of you, as if somebody gave you blinkers and you're just like, gold is overbought, gold is overbought, gold is overbought. It's like, it's not overbought. It's just gone into all-time highs and broke out of the range to the upside yet again. I don't really care whether it's overbought, frankly. I'm going to trade what the chart tells me until it's time to stop buying, right? For now, that's not it. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to sign off for today. Hopefully you derived some useful things from this slightly chaotic live stream today. But hopefully I kept it entertaining for you. No trades. So bot says no trades. I'm going to go deal with these couple of bugs that are bugging me. And then I will see you again tomorrow for another edition of the Eurotrade. Thank you so much for spending time with me. This was the Eurotrade. I'm Marcus Luckady. I'm signing off. Take care.